So today's Lunch and Learn. Today's Lunch and Learn is on ADOT's new recognition site. So in the past week, you should have seen several notifications to ADOT Connection, the usual shout-out email, talking about the new site, urging you to go take a visit. And those of you who are avid shouters or gem senders, you've already seen it by now and maybe have some questions. So that's what we're here to answer. My first question that came up with this was why? Well, it came to our attention maybe even before the pandemic how difficult it was or tedious it was to send a recognition, whether it was jam or shout. It was a process where you had to write stuff out or send it in, and then it was written out again on a card, and you got a jam and a magnet. Shout outs were typed into a document and sent to everybody. Then we had the SharePoint. But once we went to remote working with the pandemic, we realized that people working from home couldn't get into the network. So we had to do the Google form. Now we had two methods of delivering shouts, and then one had to be uploaded to the other, so it was double work for me. But it was the Google form was never immediate, where the SharePoint was immediate messaging and recognition. So after a while, they decided to do a PDCA for recognition, and one of the ideas came up was a site where everybody can use, that they didn't have to log into the network, that everybody would have access to. And they could do everything, a shout, a jam, director's awards, and other types of recognition that we have, and room to grow. So during that PDCA, it came up that there was a company, MTM Recognition, that ADOT was already doing business with, because MTM is where you get your service awards. So if you've been here 5, 10, 20 years, you get to go to a website and pick a gift, whether it's a set of luggage, flashlight, or I think I got a jacket for my 20-year one, so it's pretty cool. But this business had a recognition site already made, so they were able to gear it towards ADOT's needs. Ellen, we'll let Courtney answer that MTM question. But so then they developed a site for ADOT's needs based on what we asked for, what the PDCA asked for and felt we needed. And it was the site was tested and then launched on May 4th. And on that week was amazing. It just happened to be Employee Recognition Week, so we were able to get, as far as I counted based on the email yesterday, it was 357 shouts in 1 week, which was amazing. That's a new world record for shout out recognition. I think over 404 individuals were recognized in those shouts. So that was, everybody stepped up on Employee Recognition Day and recognized somebody, it seemed like, a lot of you did. So good job at that. But now the site is here to stay, and we're slowly transitioning the shout outs to the recognition site, the new one. So the Google form has already been turned off, and in a few more weeks, the SharePoint site will also be turned off. So now we're here with Courtney Reynolds from MTM Recognition. She is the subject matter expert on the site that we are using, and she will be presenting a demo site and show you some tricks and tools to get the most out of the site. It's very modern. I like it. It's fun to use. So with that, without any further ado, Courtney, you can take over the presentation.
All right, thank you, Javier. Okay, so as far as the question, what does MTM what does MTM stand for? I actually am not completely sure. I think it stands for Midwest Trophy Manufacturing, but I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for.
Nope, that's correct, Courtney.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, that is Ruth. She also works at MTM. And then I believe you guys, Courtney, do you work out of Oklahoma, right?
Yes, I do. I work in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm. So there goes the Midwest part. And I think we had another question in the chat real quick. does the person receiving the shout out receive an email? So if you're going to answer that later, keep that question in mind, or you can answer it now. But,
Okay. So the short answer is yes, they do receive an email. There are ways that everyone can kind of limit that. So if somebody doesn't want to receive an email, they can turn email notifications off. I will show you how to do that during this training. But generally, as long as everybody keeps email notifications turned on, then yes, they will receive an email. All right, and I can go ahead and share my screen. We can get started. All right, so right here is the homepage for your new AKA the ADOT Way recognition program. The way you can log into this site is by going to the web address www.mtmcarousel.com/ADOT. Whenever you go to that web address, then you should be automatically logged into the site because the site is equipped with something called SSO, which stands for single sign-on. Now, if you were to log on to the site from a place other than work, then you would be prompted to enter some credentials. And so your credentials would just be whatever you use for work to log into your computer in the morning, get into your email, anything like that. All right. And the first thing we will look at actually is your My Account page. You can get to your My Account page by going up here, and in the top left side, you'll click on your name. For this demo, we of course have test user. We will go down to the My Account page. And here in the My Account page is where you can update your profile picture. We do recommend you have a profile picture that is a professional image of just you and not you with like a group of people. So that way, whenever people go to send recognition, you're easier to find since your picture will pop up. In your My Account page, right here in user options, this is where you can choose if you receive an email when you get an e-card, recognition, other system messages, and likes messages. I know that pretty commonly like messages can be a little overwhelming, so you can always turn them off if you want for like a month or so while the recognition program's new, and then go back in and turn them on since they'll become less frequent. You can also choose if you want to receive automated recognition on your milestone anniversary or for your birthday. Right now, there is no recognition that will be sent on your birthday, but you could preemptively turn that off if you wanted to. You can also choose if you want your birthday and hire date to be shown publicly. This will be shown in your trophy case. I will show you where that appears a little bit later, but you can choose if you want that to be publicized or not. I will say with your birthday, the year does not show. It's only month and day. So year is private. No one will see that. Down here a little further, we have the language settings. We have Google Translate, so we are equipped with over 60 languages. I actually think it might be over 100 different languages. If I click this down arrow, you can see we have several language options. So anyone can choose any language that they feel the most comfortable speaking. Up here in account detail is where you can update your username and your password. So since we have SSO, you likely won't ever need to mess with this. So this can ultimately just be left alone. Right here where it has your full name. Let's say you were entered into the system as Charles, but your name is Chuck. You can actually go in here and edit your name so that way you can change that to say Chuck instead of Charles. You can also put in a reminder question. So you won't really need the reminder question since you have the SSO, but this would be for users that don't have SSO and have to log in manually. The reminder question would help them reset their password essentially. And you can also update your email address. This should default to your work email or whatever email is supplied to your company. However, if you can go in here and change this to your personal email, if you would like, you can keep it your work email. You can kind of change it back and forth. I know I've changed mine back and forth depending on if I was going to be out of the state or not. All right, and I will go ahead and take a short break here for questions. Does anyone have any questions about the My Account page?
So of course, when we add things, I think you said before, it's work appropriate. One thing everybody has to remember that this is a work-based account, so pictures of work appropriate and nicknames or other names, things that could be identified as work appropriate. And there's no way anybody not working at ADOT can log in. It's a ADOT only site. And so even if you want to do shouts to other people in other state agencies, that's not permitted. It's just not set up to do that.
All right. I see we also received a question from Stephanie Brown. She said, it looks like setting up an account is based on the expectation of being recognized. If a coworker wants to recognize me, but I never set up a profile, will they not be able to do so? That is an excellent question, Stephanie. So they will be able to recognize you. Whenever you log in, all it does is register your account, but your account does already exist in this platform. So somebody can go to recognize and they can send you recognition. You'll still receive an email and everything. Whenever you receive that email, you might know, hey, I should go log in and look at my recognition. But whether you log into the site or not, you can still receive the recognition.
And one thing we noticed in the first week was when you get those email notifications, they are being directed to your spam. So if you think you might have gotten recognition, if your name was on the list yesterday that I sent out, check your spam folder, and you might if you got a recognition, you might have your email there, and you have to just say mark as safe, and then your recognition notifications will come to your inbox.
Okay, I see we also have a question from Eric. Can you submit recognition for a group as is occasionally done in shoutouts? Yes, you can. So there are a couple of different ways to do this. You can either create a crowd. So we will go over to crowd functions here in a little bit, but I'll go ahead and show you. If we go down here to create a crowd, you'll just name the crowd, and this will be only something that you can see. No one will be alerted that they're in your crowd. So let's say it's a team that you work with frequently, so you just want to name the crowd team. And then you can go in here and search for people that you might want to add. There we go. And we'll go ahead and save that. And you can see that this is added to my crowds right here. Next, we were going to look at the homepage. So I'll go ahead and go over to the homepage. And then if I click on team, you'll see that it does narrow down the homepage where I can only see recognition that was given to or given from the people who are in my crowd. You can also use these created crowds as a default anniversary or birthday filter. You cannot use any of the other crowds that you have that were preloaded for you as a birthday or anniversary filter. However, you can use them to narrow down your newsfeed. Now, for sending recognition to a group of people, you can go in here, choose the badge that you're wanting to send. Let's say it's a shout out. And you can either put in several people by name. So as you can see, whenever I start typing in someone's name, they auto-populate here. You can either do that and just add them manually, or since we created that crowd, we can go over here, type in team. And I actually think I forgot a step over here. So sorry. We can go in here and okay, there should be a way to make this as a filter for recognition. So I don't see that option for some reason. I will bring that up to our IT team a little bit later, but you can recognize based on the different crowds that you create.
There's usually just a little checkbox that says allow recognition when you're setting up that team.
Yes.
Yeah, during the creation.
When you're
and that works.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, that is Very odd. Our IT team has been in the process of updating the site quite a bit in the last few days, so it's probably just a small bug that happened. I will let them know, and there'll be a checkbox whenever you create these crowds, so that way you can recognize a whole crowd.
And another thing, if I could add one thing about the crowd, when you create a crowd, you check on recognition, and just like Courtney was doing, she went back to look up team, all the names pop up that you put into this crowd. You send the crowd a shout, where each individual will get an individual shout out instead of the whole team. So if your crowd is named Northwest Office, the shout will go to every individual in that office, not just Northwest. So each individual will get a shout out and be logged in as being recognized, which is different from in the previous shout platforms. If on Google, the Google form, you entered Northwest Office, most likely I would be the one going into the SharePoint and finding the supervisor of Northwest Office and sending them the shout, labeling it to the Northwest Office. So it's a different process than it was before in the previous two platforms. So this is definitely an improvement for individual recognition. So it's a good thing to keep your eye on what groups you're making and how they're being recognized, how those individuals are being recognized. And I think Beth had a question, like, will instructions for use and setup login be available at the site?
Right. So we do have a training for participants page. However, this page will just have things on it that are really for after you've already logged in. Javier, do you know if you've sent out instructions for getting into the site for the first time to everybody in the organization?
The way it's working for us is once you're logged into Okta for whatever reason, so if you wake up, you log into Google and you go to the Okta process, as long as you click on the link, you're already in. So there isn't an actual login. Your Okta sign in is your login to this. So just like with ADOT.net, everybody, if you want to see ADOT.net, you have to go through Okta. Once you get to that point, you can go in and out of the site. So the only login you have is Okta. And like Courtney said, if you're logging in from a non-workstation, then you'd have to set up your password again or enter your password. Really quick, Stephanie, let me get to Chris. Chris says, is there anything I need to do before I can send out a shout out? No. Once you do the login, once you log into Okta and get to the site, you can just click on shout out and type away. Stephanie Brown had her hand up first.
Maybe you're repeating from Shannon, I don't know, but I think I understood the question about instructions to be, is there any place that's going to describe what you're describing now in terms of, going to the site and putting in your photo and have a photo makes it easier for people to find you, and what you're doing, how to set up that team and those kind of instructions? Are there going to be written instructions somewhere outside of logging into the platform that tells you how to use this platform?
Yes, all of that will be in the training for participants page. Right now, I am on the demo site, so not everything is as functional here as it is on your actual live site, because this isn't your full live site. But you will have a user guide that will have a bunch of panels on it that describe how to set up your My Account page, how to send recognition, how to send an e-card, all of that. And you will as well have a bunch of video clips. So you'll have a video clip of your My Account page that will be a quick 2 to 3 minute long video showing you how to go into your My Account page and how to edit everything in there. And then, Javier, are we going to put the video that we're recording right now onto the ADOT site for everyone to be able to watch?
It'll be on the Lunch and Learn site for sure. I haven't discussed with Chuck about putting it on the actual recognition site yet, but that's the thought.
Yeah, so we
So,
do
so
have.
basically, Stephanie, oh, sorry. So Stephanie, to answer your question, basically, like we've already said, you can logging in is just a simple octa process. And then once you're at the site, you can review those trainings for details on how to adjust your picture and format your site. Does that answer your question, Stephanie?
Yes, thank you.
And did somebody else have their hand up? I thought I saw one come up and go down. Okay, Courtney, back to you.
All right. So I'm sure at this point we're all pretty familiar with sending a badge, but a badge is, of course, essentially just a way to recognize a coworker. And there's a couple ways you can send one. Of course, I went over here and clicked the recognize tool a little bit earlier, but you can also click recognize a coworker right here above the newsfeed, and that will take you to the 2 badge options that you have. Now, once you send a badge, of course, they go through to the newsfeed, and then as more recognition comes in, the old recognition will filter down. That recognition, however, is not gone forever. If you go up here where it says badges and click, then it'll take you into your trophy case where you can see all of the different badges that you have earned. So if it's filled in with color like this one is right here, then you know that you have earned this badge. And this badge, of course, is grayed out. If I hover over it, it is filled in with color. This means that I haven't received that badge yet. So scrolling down, you can see all of these badges are still grayed out. The milestone badges will, not all of them will be shown at one time. As you earn the milestone badges, then they will show up. You can also look at someone else's trophy case if you would like. So for example, we will go into Javier's trophy case. And this is where you can see somebody's hire date. It looks like we don't have birth dates in the site, so that's nothing you have to worry about. But right here, we do have Javier's hire date. So if you don't want your hire date shown, you can go into your My Account page and have that removed. But this is really the only place it's going to show up, as well as over here under the Anniversaries tab. All right. Every single employee will have access to send these 2 badges, the shout out and the gem award. However, you will have a couple of other options for sending recognition. So those options are you can submit a director award nomination form or an AKA leader award nomination form. So if we click on the AKA leader awards, then you can see all of these different graphics. So let's say you wanted to nominate a leader for the Big Advocate Award. You would click in here and it would take you to this custom form where you would enter the leader's name, check all of the boxes that apply, and tell us about a time you observed the actions. So the leader's name and this text box down here are both required fields. None of the checkboxes are required. However, if you are submitting a form, it is best practice to go ahead and check the box for whichever values you think that leader displayed. The Director's Award is set up very similarly. So you can go in here, click on the graphic for the awards you're wanting to send. You'll enter the nominee name. And of course, you'll explain why this person deserves to be nominated for the ADOT Medal of Valor. Once you submit the award, they will go for an approval process. And once approved, then the recipient will receive an email and the badge will come through on the newsfeed. All right. Does anyone have any more questions?
Anais.
Hi there. When we nominate a leader award and we put the data in the text field and the checkboxes, is that leader notified of the text and everything that went with that?
So I don't believe that they are notified of the exact text that is in the actual form. If they need to be able to see that text, then their supervisor can print out the nomination form that was submitted and hand it to them and let them see it. However, as of right now, there's no way for them to see the answers that were submitted in the nomination form.
Good question. Thank you.
Yes, that is a very good question. I've actually heard that question quite a few times recently. So I might go to our IT department and see if we can maybe add that feature in sometime in the future.
So the so the supervisor gets that email saying why he deserves or he or she deserves that badge.
They will get an email to the notification to go into the site where they'll be able to go into a manage nominations field, which whenever we get to the manager training session or section of this, then I'll be able to show you what that looks like from the manager's perspective. Then they can go in and view the answers that were submitted on the nomination form and choose if they want to approve or deny that.
Okay.
So managers will have access to that. However, they're not sent through to the person being nominated.
We have a question from Ed Shepard about the AKA Leader Award. How will the sender know if it was approved and awarded to the leader?
That is a very good question. So essentially, you will receive an email saying that your recognition was approved. So if you submit the form, it goes in for approval. If it's approved, you get a nomination saying that your recognition was approved. So it'll be an email.
And the AKA Leader Awards are approved by, is it the supervisor or the nominee supervisor or a group?
I think it's a group.
The recognition group?
Mm-hmm.
The recognition group?
I don't think there is a approval for the AKA. Is there? I don't think. Chuck has his hand up. I'm not sure.
AKA Leader Awards have no approval path. As soon as it's done, it's done. It's not a nomination. It is just a form of recognition, just like a shout out or a gem.
No, thank you, Chuck and Kim, for that info. Good question, Ed. We have a question from Julie. Should all the shout outs that you have received be listed in the past, or is this just moving forward? At this point, it's just moving forward. Of course, there's a lot of shouts in the past, so we haven't been able to get a good process of uploading them into this recognition site. So for now, it's just moving forward. Anything sent into MTM will appear in MTM. If you continue to use the SharePoint site, those will not appear in MTM as of today. Mark Munoz says, will prior directive pins show up on your profile, or is it year by year? Chuck, can you answer that?
Yeah, all directors awards are loaded into your profile, so they're in your trophy case. All annual agency awards are loaded, and all gems from the last year and a half are loaded.
So they're already there.
They're already there. They were there before we turned on. Yep.
Okay. A question from Stephanie, and then I'll get to Jamila's question. Stephanie asks, suggesting that the nominee is able to see the why only once they have been approved by management team.
Okay, I can definitely put in that suggestion to our IT department.
Can you repeat that, Javier?
Stephanie Brown had a suggestion that the nominee is able to see the why only once they have been approved by the management team. And that's, and I think she's referring to not the AKA Leader Award,
Yeah,
but the other one before that.
Yeah, she was discussing the high level awards where people were asking whether the recipient got a notification. You were saying you're going to go back to IT about that so they could see it. But if it got to be approved, then you might want to wait till they're approved until they can see the reason why someone nominated them for their leadership award.
I see. Thank you. Jamila has her hand up.
Hi. So I have a question in regards, actually some clarification on what was said in regards to the Directors Awards. So did I hear this correctly that there's an awards committee or a committee that reviews Director Awards now?
There is not a committee that awards Directors Awards.
Okay, so the current process still follows. If a employee nominates a person for a Director's Award, it will go to the division director to approve. Is that correct?
Not automatically through the system. Kim follows the same process it always has.
Right.
The intake is just via the site now.
Okay, so if I submitted one today, because I have 3 that I'm working on. If I submitted those today, then I would get an email. Myself would get an email that said that that office, awards and recognition, received my nomination. Is that correct?
I don't know if there's a email that gives you a confirmation, but it is working. Kim has gotten nominations through here, so it all works.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
And then, Chuck, I think we have another question for you from Ed. Why did they show the coins for the leaders to get, or did he miss something? So Ed, you're talking about the AKA Leader Award coins. So everyone that gets a Leaders Award gets a coin?
Yes.
And there's still and that's one with no approval process.
There is no approval process, no.
The AKA Leader is a series. It's a coin series. There are 5 coins in the series. When the leader receives the 5th coin of the series, they will then receive the challenge coin holder with the 5th coin that they received to display the 5 coins.
Got it. Thank you. Courtney, back to you.
All right, perfect. I do see another question over here from Chris asking how long it takes to get a shout out approved. So shout outs also do not have an approval process. Those will go straight through to the newsfeed.
So Chris, that is a change from the Google form. The Google form took about a week to get processed. Sometimes the SharePoint is automatic, but it's through a different site, so it does not register on NTM. So when you go through NTM, it goes automatically. And which award could we offer a supervisor? I believe the AKA Leader Awards is, do you have to be a manager or supervisor to get the AKA Leader Awards, Chuck? Okay.
Can you repeat that, Javi?
Only supervisors and managers are currently eligible for the Leader Award Series.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Raphael says the site is very tricky. Just trying to type words, there's a delay, and a lot of times keystrokes are missed. That may or may not be a bandwidth issue. I haven't seen anything on the site like that yet. So Raphael, if you still have that issue like after this Google Meet is over, when you close a few windows, Raphael, if you can try that again, if you still have that problem, give me a call and we'll work it out. Kathy Boyle asks, how long does it take for a leader to receive a coin if nominated on the site? Chuck, I think that's a you question.
Coins are processed weekly. So we are processing, we get the coins and we are processing the coins twice a week. And they are going to be mailed directly to the employee's home that they have, the address that they have on file with HRIS. So thinking, depending on how far the employee is from Phoenix, it could, be one day, once we put in the mail, 2 days, or it could be up to a week. So I'm just going to say at least no more than 7 days, because we're going to be pulling those every week and sending them in the mail every week.
Thank you, Kim. We have a few comments of how awesome the site is. And then Courtney, we'll turn it back to you.
All right. So there's just a couple of things to show you on the user part of the training, and then we can go ahead and log into the manager profile. So first thing I'm going to show you is how to send an e-card. So there's actually 3 different ways to do this. You can click send an e-card right here under links. You can click send an e-card over here above the newsfeed, or you can click send an e-card under the anniversaries widget off to the side or under the anniversaries page. So if I were to click on somebody's name right here, so Darlene, for example, then I could go in and select an e-card. There are several birthday, anniversary, holiday, and other e-cards available in the site. We'll go over to anniversary. You can just pick the anniversary card that you'd like to send. You'll type in a message. Now, this message and the e-card itself will just be a private message between the sender and the recipient. This will not go through to the newsfeed and nobody else will be alerted. It'll just go to the recipient's email. Now, let's say Darlene's anniversary wasn't until next Monday, but you took next Monday off of work, but you wanted to make sure she got that e-card on Monday. You can also schedule the e-card. So we can go in here, choose for it to go out the 16th, and then you can push send, and that will schedule it. You can also cancel scheduled e-cards if you need to by going to your My Account page and going over to e-cards I've sent. Right here, you can go ahead and click search. Of course, I haven't set any e-cards, so there's nothing here, but you could go in and choose if you want to cancel a scheduled e-card or not. All right, and finally, I will show you this help page. So of course, we've looked at the training page, and on your live site, you'll have access to the user guide and all of these video clips. However, if you have additional questions and need more help, you can click on this help page and you will have access to contact Jennifer Mueller. She works with MTM Recognition. She will be your customer care associate. She's very knowledgeable about the site. You can email her at this email address right here, or you can call her. Her work hours would be about 5:30 to 3:30 Arizona time on Monday through Thursday, and 5:30 to 10:30 Arizona time on Friday. So if you happen to contact her outside of those hours, then as soon as she gets back into the office, she'll hear the voicemail, she will see the email, and she will respond very quickly. She's very good about that. All right. Do we have any more questions while I log out of this account and switch over to the manager account?
Let's do one of the poll questions about the managers to see who we got in attendance. So if you guys can click on the poll icon and answer the poll question. Send me the one that says, "Are you a manager?" So if you're a manager, this version of the site will apply to you and might come in handy. And if you're not a manager, then you'll know what your manager can do. You can educate your manager on how to utilize the site to the fullest. So we have about 40 votes, or 39 votes, 40 votes now, and it's 28 votes say no, and 12 votes say they are a manager. So that's probably a decent ratio of who's in the meeting here is 2 to 1 or non-managers. But but like I said, it's a good opportunity for people to learn.
Yes, it's definitely good to know how everything works. All right, so as you can see, this site looks a little bit different compared to the user site. So first off, you'll notice this manage approvals area. So if there ever was a time where a manager had approval sitting in their queue, then they would go into manage approvals. And of course, there's no approvals found right now. And this is where a manager could filter through the approvals, decide if they want to accept them, deny them, and see all the information about the recognition that was sent. Below manage approvals is the dashboard tool. So managers will have access to like some truncated reports for just their direct reports. So this test manager's only direct report is the test user. If we click on this, then the manager will be able to see when the last recognition sent was, the last recognition received, and this user received recognition today. And you can also see a breakdown of how many badges this user received by category. So 50% were peer-to-peer, so a shout out, and the other 50% were social achievements. If we go over here to program, then you can see what the most common badges given have been for all of your direct reports. So if there were 5 direct reports and each of them received a different variation of awards, let's say 3 of them have received 3 shout outs and 2 gem awards and vice versa for the other 2, then all of that would be reflected here in this pie chart. Managers will also have the separate training for managers page. Well, they will have a manager user guide, a manager guide to the reports, and a video clip on how managers can use their dashboard. If we scroll down, we can go into the report section, and managers will have access to these 5 reports. The recognition history report will be probably the most useful to managers. They can go in here, they can search by specific initiator, recipient, they can even search for any employees that used to be active but are now terminated or retired or just not with the company for any reason. You can search this, you can also download it into an Excel file, and you can do whatever you need to do with it in Excel. And of course, you can see a lot of information about the badge, such as the day it was sent, who the initiator was, the recipient, the program the badge was housed in, the event, which is the badge name itself, what the message was, and managers will also have the option to print out a certificate to hand out to their direct reports if they wanted to. Going back over here, you, as a manager, you can also view the top initiators. So this will show everyone in your team who is the top initiator. For the test manager is the top initiator because they're the only person that has sent recognition in their program. You can also view the top performers. So this would be whoever's received the most recognition out of your team. And of course, that's test user, and you can see that they've received 2 recognitions. Managers will also be able to view a user status report. So this will basically show information for all users. They can search by every single user, which will include inactive, active, verify, and suspended users. Inactive users are users that have been terminated or have retired. Active users are users who are, of course, still in the system, still participating, logged into the site and everything. Verify users are users that have not yet logged into the site. So managers can go in and check to see how many of their team members have yet to log into the new site. And they can also check for suspended users. Now, suspended isn't anything bad or negative. It just means that maybe somebody's gone for maternity leave or FMLA and they're going to be gone for an extended period of time. So maybe they don't need to be sending or receiving recognition for that short period of time. And finally, managers will have access to a user milestones report. So in the user milestones report, managers can go in and view anniversaries. There's no birthdays in the site, so they can't really view anything for that. But let's say a manager wanted to know how many of their direct reports had a birthday within the next month. That way they can plan ahead, maybe get a party set up, get a card for everyone to sign, maybe bring in some cupcakes or something. This was a great way for them to kind of plan ahead and know what to expect. All right. Do we have any questions about any of the manager functions?
One question that came in was, so the supervisor manager can see if the employee submitted them for an AKA leader award. So in theory, if they could see what they submitted, they could see if they submitted the AKA.
Yes. So in the recognition history report, since that report just automatically, or since that award just automatically goes through, if you wanted to see if any of your direct reports submitted that, then you can even search by specific program and go down to AKA Leader Award and see if any of your direct reports have received it or sent it.
Good. And there's nothing on the site that's anonymous or confidential, really. This is, once again, it's a work program. I believe it's even subject to public records. So once again, it's work created as such. And I have a question from William Downs. Can we add an anniversary? For example, it already has a hire date, but how about a date started in department or current position? So say if someone hires with ADOT 20 years ago, but they started a new job this year, can they add an additional anniversary? Or, I don't know if they want to change the anniversary, but.
So there's currently only one place for anniversaries to come in on the file that is sent in. Or Chuck, you raised your hand. Do you want to touch on this one?
Yeah, the data comes straight out of HRIS, so we can have a mechanism of creating dates of when you move to a unit or when you move to a new position. It's just straight out of the state system. Because this is also the same provider that does all of our anniversary awards too. So when you order your ADOT gear after 5, 10, 15, 20 years, this is the same date that's used there. So we don't have the capability of giving them numerous dates for that.
Thank you. Kathleen Custer asks, is that hire date the hire date at ADOT or the first date at the state? Chuck, that's a Chuck question. State. Kathleen, it's the state. So if you had a prior service at another agency, then that'll be your start date. And Barbara asked, does period today cover everything up to today, or can you only view today? So when you select today, I believe it's just today, whatever day that is.
Yes.
There's a selection that you can go exact dates. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick all those, and it's just simply last 7 days. And then the exact date is what I've been using to look at things. You can start it on Monday and up till Thursday. That's what that could do. Okay. Back to you, Courtney.
All right. That was all I had for the presentation. But if anyone has any questions, now would be a great time to go ahead and ask any remaining questions that you have.
I have a question. I'm just going to go ahead and launch this poll. So I want to ask people, and to get a day to answer the poll, that if they logged into the site yet, and if it was, and if you would like to elaborate, you can. Did this event entice you to log into the site to see what we're talking about, or did you log in the first day? And in the meantime, Eleanor has a hand up.
Yeah, could you review the like awards one more time?
The like awards?
Yeah.
The like badge, you mean?
Oh, yes, badge. Yeah, badge.
Okay, so the shout out to
I believe you mean like when you get your 10th like, you get a little message that says you've gotten.
Okay, yes. So there are social recognition badges that are system given. So you will get like your first like crowd badge whenever you log into the site for the first time. You will also get a badge for like creating a crowd. So like any of the social recognition badges you should receive.
And other things like when you like a comment, you'll get your first like, or if you make a comment, you'll get a badge for making a comment. And I think there's one if you make 10 comments or 10 likes, you get a badge for that.
So is
So
it like
just like a,
that somebody that I liked somebody else's comment and they get the badge for the first like, social achievement badge?
they get a badge for, they get a badge for the first like, and then you get a badge for making a like, I believe.
Perfect. Okay, thanks.
And if you like enough stuff, you get another badge. Chris would like to know, Francine, would the crowd be be shared by others, or is it just for my own logon?
It
Great
would just
question,
be for you. Nobody else can see any of the crowds that you create. You're the only person that can see any of the crowds.
So Francine, thinking like if you create a crowd for everybody in your unit, all 15 people, you can't share that crowd. So you could do shout outs to everybody in the unit at once, but nobody else can borrow that crowd. So they would have to make their own crowd. And then once again, you could just put the 3 people you like the best and just shout out to them consistently if you want. No one can see that. And Chris asked, could you show where to find the birthday cards again?
Yes.
The e-cards, I believe.
Absolutely. So there are a few different ways to find that. You can either go to send e-card right here under links. You can go to send an e-card right here above the newsfeed. You can click on somebody's name under the anniversaries widget on the homepage, or you can click on somebody's name under the anniversaries page itself. And whenever you click on somebody's name, it'll automatically populate their name right here. And then you can go in and select an e-card. Right here are all the birthday e-cards. If you were to go over here to send an e-card, then you would need to search for the actual person and then go to select an e-card. And right here will be where all of the e-cards are housed.
Joyce asks, who do you contact if you don't see an anniversary on the list?
You can contact.
I'm
sorry, Javier. This is Kim. You can contact the Awards and Recognition Office. Please keep in mind that the anniversary date is based on information that is in the official employee's record in HRIS. And there are times when employees do have adjusted hire dates from if they have left state service and come back, if they have been on extended leave and have come back. So there may be some adjusted hire dates for an employee based on some of those circumstances of them being away from state service for a while. So just wanted to make sure, but we will look that information up for you and get that information. We'll do the research to clarify the date of the anniversary date for you.
Yeah, Joyce, if you know who that person is, you could just have them look up their trophy case where it says their anniversary, and if it's wrong, they could call in, or if it's not visible for some reason. I know the anniversary list that we're looking at right now, it only goes so far out. I think it's like a month or 2 out, maybe a month out before it stops, the list stops. So keep that in mind. Chris Lavoie has a comment that says, I tried sending an AKA award for my supervisor. This request would be reviewed a few times a week. I think we said the AKA is not reviewed. It's automatic, right? And they should get a notification. It should be in their feed, or you should see it on the main ADOT feed.
Yes, that one should go through automatically.
Okay, Catherine says, my anniversary doesn't coincide with my ADOT hire date or state hire date. Maybe they're giving you credit for extra time. I don't know. I hope they're giving you more time than you have. You could retire early, but once again, you could call Kim or call Kim and ask her. You could talk to her about the anniversary date. That's
Actually, Jennifer Saunders is the guru on all things hire date and adjusted hire date. So Jennifer Saunders or Jay Saunders at AZDOT would help you with that. And she's at extension 8733.
Where do we like something again? If you want to like a comment, there should be a thumbs up sign, a decal right underneath the comment.
So I believe that was actually turned off on the demo site. So
that's right.
That does not show up on here, but it would show up like right here.
Any other questions for Courtney or awards and recognition team? All right, see you later, Lynn. All right, if anybody has any questions after this, they can, Chris, the thumbs up is already activated on the main site, so you should be able to see it on when you log into the site. So from this point on, if you have any questions, you can contact the awards and recognition team, myself, and there is a help tab on the site with the email for the site production team. So yes, we'll hang out for a little bit. If you have any questions you want to ask or something that comes to mind, feel free. But take a minute to go to the site, register, send some recognition to somebody that you think deserves it, and let us know what you think. You can email me anytime you want with questions or comments about the site. Once again, if you have technical issues with the site, there's a tab to get an email for the technical team. Other than that, this recording will be on the Lunch and Learn website within a week. You can go back and see directions there, or we will keep in touch. Courtney, anything else?
I don't think I have anything else, but it looks like Linda asked a question. What happens if you create an extra crowd and it needs to be removed? I will go ahead and share my screen and we can go over that.
Good last minute question. She was saving that for me.
All right, so we don't have a crowd on this one. Here's where you will click allow recognition right here. Now it's showing up, and we'll go in and go ahead and create a crowd. Let's say we staged it too early or we created a second crowd by accident. Then clicking into this crowd, you can go over here and just delete the crowd and it'll go away.
And if you want to just take people off, you can just delete the people off the crowd too, right?
Yep, you can just edit the crowd and take anyone off.
Right. Good job. So thank you, Courtney. Thank you for your time and for your presentation. If there's no other questions, we'll say goodbye.